Hey everybody, I was looking for a pilot watch, but when you have a small wrist, a 6.5-inch wrist, there are not too many options out there. But I saw this particular San Martin that is 37 millimeters in diameter. I had it for a month. I love this watch, so here's my review, so let's go. I'll jump right into the specs because the presentation is the usual San Martin. So the dimensions are exactly as advertised with a width of 37 millimeters. Thickness is around 11.2. The lug to lug is around 45 millimeters. And the lug width is a universal 20 millimeters that tapers down to around 16 millimeter at the thinnest point of the bracelet. So the usual. And inside the watch there is a Miyota 8215 instead of the usual NH35 driving it. So this one has around 42 hours of power reserve that beats around 6 beats per second. However, it does not offer hacking function. Furthermore, there is a date function in this movement, so you will get a ghost date on this model. Just be on the lookout for that. And then the pricing for this is 138 USD when you want to get it on a leather strap, but if you want to get it on the steel bracelet, as the one I have in front of you, it's going to cost you around 168 USD when not on sale. Now, speaking of the bracelet, the quality of the bracelet is the usual San Martin quality with that rock star clasp that very few watches under $1,000 range that I have tried seem to get it right, besides San Martin. The thing that I would like to call out about the bracelet is though that Rockstar clasp only has one other micro adjustment available for this particular model. So the sizing is a little bit different contrary to the usual 3 or 4 micro adjustment options that you would get on the clasp. You only get 2. So you will get one additional option for micro adjustments. Now theoretically you probably only need one micro adjustment options available for most people because either remove the full link or utilize the other option on the micro adjustment. But with each link being around 10.5 millimeters in length and micro adjustments only being 2 millimeters apart, I think there is a possibility of getting stuck in a no man's land when it comes to sizing for some of the people out there. Therefore, I probably would have preferred that they would have added additional micro adjustments to the clasp or maybe even add a half link on this bracelet. Okay, for the case. Case is brushed all the way throughout, signaling the tool watch functionality, and brushing seems to be done really well, pretty uniform throughout the watch. There is an anti-reflective coating on the flat sapphire crystal, and the case back is solid to account for a slimmer profile of the watch itself. However, I would say that there are two cons for me on this case. The first one being that the case back, while it is solid, does seem to protrude out a bit versus some of the other similar solid case backs that I've seen in regards to proportions. So now it doesn't make too much of a difference when wearing it on a strap, but when I wear it on a bracelet, because the sizing is not as snug as a strap, I do feel like there is a bit of a globe-like feeling in the back of the watch. The smaller dimension probably is accentuating this feeling because of the watch is so heavily concentrated because of that 37 millimeter dimensions, but the feeling goes away after a while. However, when I initially put on the watch on the bracelet, I do feel like the back of the watch has a little bit of a globe-like feeling than some of the other solid case backs that I have on my collection. Additionally, the distance between the pinholes and the edges of the case seems to be somewhat snug, so I noticed that when I tried on other straps like my vintage inspired padded leather straps, I tend to notice right away that the middle edge of the strap started to rub against the edges of the case. Therefore, if I were you and you want to buy this watch and you want to wear it on a strap, I would try to find a strap that doesn't require too much real estate when putting it into the lugs. Now the dial layout is pretty interesting. I'm not an expert on pilot watches, so I'm not sure, but the 12-hour mark has the triangle signaling that it's a pilot watch. That seems to be pretty universal across all pilot watches. And the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock mark has the numeral hour markers, but is also accompanied by additional numeral markers all the way throughout the watch that are minute markers, which are 5 minutes apart. Not sure if I saw this type of combination in other watches. I'm sure it exists, but I just haven't seen it. So to me, it seemed a little bit peculiar as far as the layout and the design of the watch itself. Additionally, the dial is traditionally matted in black. It is accompanied by cathedral hands, and pretty much all of it lights up with a BGW9 lume, which they advertise as being blue, but it appears green to my eyes. The only place where the lume is not applied are the second hand and the San Martin automatic call out and the stick minute markers at the edges of the watch dial. Now I love that Times New Roman font San Martin logo in this watch versus the alphabet orgy version that they use on all their versions. I think it's way more classier, it's way more subtle, and I wish San Martin would utilize this version as their logo, along with probably less acid trip like symbol version to accompany this text version to signal out their branding on the watches as we go forward. Alright, in conclusion, I've never been a pilot watch or even a fields watch guy, mainly because of a lot of times, especially the pilot watches, tended to be on dimensions that were way too big for my 6.5 inch wrist. However, with this 37mm version from St. Martin, I think this watch became a great gateway watch for me into the category because the subtleness of the watch makes it a strap monster and an everyday wear for most of the people, and including the people with slim wrists like myself because of now diminutive case dimensions of this watch. And I'm telling you that once I started to wear this watch, I started to shop around for more smaller dimension pilot field tool watches, what have you, because I just love mentioned versatility as well as what I like to call covertness that this watch provides. And I would say the quality is probably not the best San Martin that I've ever owned, but somehow it has become my favorite San Martin I've ever owned because, again, it fulfilled a niche and it also introduced me to a category of watches that I felt like I was never interested in. So that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Like and subscribe if you like the video, and peace.